Thanks for coming to another session of Yoga Core. If you're online, thanks for showing up. If you're in person, thanks for showing up. And if you're in person, there's two AV guys walking in the back. You should high five them if you would, because they really help us quite a lot. And then Misty's up here. And, if you're in person, you get to see her. If you're online, she's kind of a mythical creature, but she's here. And all of these people are so wonderful. I just want to give a shout out because they make it easy for all of us. So with that, we'll start. I thought we would work a little bit on extension, like hip extension. That's where we fold or bend in the hips forward. And then also work on hip extension where we go back. All right, so I'm going to work a little bit with flexion and extension in the pelvis hips area today. And with that, we'll start in a nice seated or comfortable lying back kind of shape. And we'll all pause for a moment to slow down, to catch our breath. Bring awareness back to ourselves. And then that gentle reminder that you have agency and choice over your practice for the next 45 minutes. So if something does not feel supportive, does not feel comfortable or safe in your body, please, please, no judgment. Let it go. You don't have to do it. Okay. So we want to work from a place of feeling safe, strong, secure, grounded. And with that, we'll pause for a couple moments to settle and breathe. And as things like your breath and maybe your heartbeat get a little slower, you might find or feel your breath get naturally longer. And we'll take a couple moments to draw our awareness to gratitude, finding and feeling maybe 2 or 3 things that we're extremely grateful for here. And bringing that feeling of gratitude into our practices of breathing and feeling. And 3 more breaths right here. And over the last couple sessions, we've been working a little more with what we've been calling active or engaged breathing. So let's all come onto our backs if you're not there and bend your knees into constructive rest pose. And really your choice. If you want to put your hands down on your lower abdominals, feel free. You could also have your arms dangle, hangle by your sides. Whatever feels good works for your body. Right now, we're going to just totally try and relax our abdominals and feel that relaxed, more down regulating belly breath. So when you take an inhale, feeling almost like you're blowing up a balloon, there's an inflation, there's lots of space. And then when you exhale, feeling, ooh, that release, the balloon deflates. The navel draws in, the ribs draw down and in. And then when you inhale, that sense, that feeling of expansion. And just relax and take 2 more breaths. Now, if you're in the room, being mindful that your mask is going to give you feedback. I don't know about anyone else. I feel it's a little harder to take more of a deep, like internal deep breath with my mask on, but I'm trying. So I'm going to try to keep breathing in and out through the nose. And then adding tone. So as you exhale, feeling a little more in your own way of understanding tone, strength. I feel it as a hug. Those muscles, abdominal muscles, contract. And then when we inhale, keeping a sense of tone in the eccentric contraction as the abdominals feel like they're expanding. And we're just going to pause and breathe here for a little bit. We still want to feel a moderate little bit of movement. It's not a cemented, we're not holding so tight that we don't feel movement. So there's a little bit of movement as we breathe in those abdominals. We'll take 2 more breaths. And when you feel your next exhale, let's sweep your arms up to the ceiling and then interlace or stack your hands, your choice, behind your head, elbows wide. Now, elbows can be wide as long as you can keep your back ribs down on the floor and a neutral little lumbar curve and some weight through your back pelvis. When you feel your exhale in those abdominals contract, ribs draw down and in, navel to floor, we'll lift the head up just a little bit. Let your arms connect into your upper back so you can feel your upper back through your arms really supporting your head and your neck. And then one more time, when you feel the contraction with your exhale, you're going to come up a wee bit higher, tuck your chin, lower your gaze to look at your belly. And you can feel engaged breathing and see a little tiny bit of movement. And then with your inhale, lengthen your spine. You might feel your sternum like it's lifting up towards your chin. It's kind of feeling of length through the front body and lower your shoulders and head. So we're going to do 2 more. It's going to take 2 breaths to lift all the way up into the little sit up. So take an inhale, exhale, abdominals contract, head lifts, pause. Exhale one more time, contract, head, shoulders lift, tuck your chin, look into your belly, see it move a little tiny bit. Little more challenging, you're not imprinting your spine, so you're not tucking. We're not doing this kind of tuck. Your tailbone's still rolling out, long spine. Might feel like your sternum's lifting up out of your pubic bone as you lower down. Take an inhale. Exhale, contract the abdominals, lift a little bit. One more time, inhale. Toned breath, exhale, lift a little higher, tailbone rolls out, look at your abdominals, see a little bit of movement, but strength. Inhale, long spine, roll all the way back down and let everything rest for 3 breaths. So now you can just let all those abdominal muscles you just used come back to the belly breath. The floor is going to hold you up. And just relax for 1 more round of breath. Sweet, and then we're going to roll over and just come up to sitting for just a moment. I'm just going to do a little bit of wrist wake up before we do tabletop and before we do some stuff on hands and knees and down dog. Just get our wrist ready. So you can bring your arms out into double handshakes, bring them in, and then we're going to bring them together and up like this. Right? So if I give you the side version, it will be most challenging to try to keep the elbow up in line with the shoulder. If you come down here, that's okay too. Okay. But most challenging, you're lifting up and then you're going to push your forearms together and flex and spread your fingers. and push. Great. Take a couple breaths. Fabulous. And then bring them back together and do it one more time. So you're going to try and pull your fingernails down to the floor. Maybe push your forearms up a little more and out. And then let things rest. Whew. All right, so let's come towards a tabletop. I'm going to explore finding that symmetrical midline feel again. So as you come, you can tuck your chin and look down. And then understanding that symmetrical feel of your ears, shoulders, ribs, hips in midline. And taking 2 breaths, engaged breathing again. So as you exhale, feeling maybe some of that contraction in the abdominals. As you inhale, feeling that eccentric contraction. Okay, so we're going to take one hand and we're going to bring it to your lower back ribs. So we just want to define lower back ribs, kidneys, and then go south into your pelvis. So we just want to define this in your body. Okay, so you have your lower ribs. If you go towards your spine, this is where your thoracic middle spine starts to come down towards your lumbar spine. It's a vulnerable place in our back. So we want to try and find a lot of strength here in this class today in this area. Okay. So if we take that arm back down and we come to that engaged breathing, drawing the navel up, that's going to help support this whole area where your hand just was. So we're going to stabilize through the breathing, this lower lumbar spine. And then we're going to try and feel cat-cow a little more up in your thoracic spine. So stabilizing that low back. We're going to start by tucking your chin and kind of feeling like you're peeling your spine into a cat from your head, through your neck, through your mid back. See if you can find a cat-like shape, but your low back is still pretty stable and neutral. And then peel your chin forward and up. And then you'll start to find your cow, vertebra by vertebra, stabilizing your low back. 2 more like that. So trying to stabilize, strong low back, engaged breathing. Working a little more on cat-cow, just from your head, neck, into your thoracic mid-back. We'll do one more. And then we'll come back to good old-fashioned tabletop. From your tabletop, right, take 2 breaths into your back. Notice what you notice, feel what you feel, let the practice, let the breath help you understand breath in your body. And then lower all the way down onto your belly. Tuck your chin, look down at the floor. Your hands can either be by your lower ribs, or you can stack your forearms and bring your forehead onto your hands. Legs come pretty close together. Now we're going to try and find that engaged breathing again. So tone in your inhale, tone in your exhale through the abdominals. When you exhale, when your navel draws up into your spine, that's going to help support that low back area we were just talking about feeling in that tabletop. So we want to really stabilize the low back. As you inhale, lift your chest. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. One more like that, and we're going to add a piece. Give ourselves a new challenge. As you lower back down, rest for a couple of breaths. The new challenge is we're going to find our pubic bones out to the front of the pelvic crest and really anchor down. So using your pubic bone in the front of your pelvic crest to help ground, then the engaged breathing to support the low back. And then one more piece of grounding, put your shoulder blades on your back. So imagine your shoulder blades are pushing down onto your rib cage, your back ribs. And your shoulder blades are going to draw down out of your ears, and we're not going to move the shoulder blades. They're going to be stuck and strong. And then we're going to lift the chest. We're going to pause when we lift up. We're going to hold the chest up, maybe tuck the chin a little bit to look down, and come back to engaged breathing. So as you exhale, can you feel a little more of the ribs drawing down and in? When you exhale, the contraction of the navel up to your back. So again, this area from your lower ribs down, trying to get that really strong and long to support your posture, to support pelvic hip flexion. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Ground through the front of the pelvis. Lengthen through the legs. Shoulder blades stable, strong on your back. With an inhale, lift your chest. Hold it. Are you stable, strong, engaged with your breathing? 2 breaths. Support the lower back. Lower down and take a couple of breaths. Plant your hands by your side if they're not already there. Push up to tabletop. And then curl your toes and press up and back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Move around. Shift. Do what you need to do in your downward facing dog to feel that lower lumbar spine get a little longer, to feel strong across the back shoulders. And then we're going to exhale, walk your hands and feet together. And slowly come all the way on up. You can take a full body stretch. And then arms come down, and we're going to take maybe 3 to 5 breaths just to hang out, come back to your body, breathing, to your own experience, noticing whatever it is you're noticing. We'll be quiet for about 3 breaths. So feeling your feet nice and anchored and strong on the floor, let's bring your hands to your hips. All right, so when we tip forward like this is hip or pelvic flexion, okay? When we come up and we take the hips back, this is extension, okay? In both of these shapes, we need engaged breathing to support this area. So from those lower ribs down through the lower back, right? We need lots of strength. So we're going to exhale, feel that tone. Inhale, feel that tone. And then with your next exhale, when you feel that tone, bend your knees a little bit, take your pubic bone forward like we did on the floor. And then come back up to standing and tip forward. Come back on up. Engaged breathing. Remember, like we were on the floor in that little baby cobra. We're just working on the lower pelvis extended part first. And coming back up and feeling the differences between flexion, neutral, and extension. One more time. All right, so let's do like a standing cobra. Okay, kind of like what we were doing on the floor, but we don't get the floor, we just have air. Okay, so if you were doing prone mountain on the floor, some of us were like this in prone mountain with our hands by our lower ribs. Some of us might have been like this in prone mountain. So if you were standing at the wall, that might help. If you were, again, just even if you close your eyes and you imagine you're on your belly, right? And we are taking the front of the pelvis into the ground, engaged breathing, lengthening the spine, putting the shoulder blades strong on your back. And then we were pulling the chest up. So what's it feel like here to pull the chest up and a little bit away from the imaginary wall? And then coming back. So one more time, if you want to take your hands down, you feel you could do this from hands on your hips, you can do that. Anchoring into the floor, engaged breathing. Pubic bone, just like we were anchoring it into the floor. Taking your chest, lifting it up or lifting or floating it back. Little bit of thoracic spine extension with hip extension. Keeping your low back really long and engaged. Come back up. Here we go. Exhale, arms float up. Now with your arms up, same idea. Pubic bone goes forward, hips tip back. Lengthen. Can you feel that little bit of baby cobra? And pause to make sure you're still really strong and long. So as you exhale, can you feel your navel draw back? Ribs draw down. And then with an exhale, bend your knees. Flexion, fold forward. Walk your hands all the way up onto your thigh bones. Build like a standing tabletop. Give yourself a couple breaths to find and reconnect to that engaged abdominal breathing. So no sagging in the low back. Find your baby cobra feel through your thoracic spine. Lift the chest. When you lift the chest, exhale, pull the navel up to get that length in the low back. Exhale, when you're ready, fold. Step back, downward facing dog. Build your down dog, take some time. Bend your knees and pull your hip creases way, way, way back. And then stabilizing the low back, can you find that baby cobra feel in your thoracic, maybe up through your neck a little bit. So you're pressing your hip creases way back and finding that baby cobra feel as you look out towards your hands. And then we're going to exhale, walk your feet and hands together. Ground down slowly, come all the way on up. And bring your arms down by your side. Right? So maybe you can feel as we're doing these big extensions, right? We're also getting quite a bit of stretch through this front hip, okay? So if you're really tight here, go slow and gentle, okay? You don't have to overdo it or force it. And then maintaining that awareness that as you exhale, ooh, the ribs need to stay down and draw back. So this area here stays a little longer We don't want to thrust or push the ribs forward. Okay, so it's not this, right? So here we go again. Swing those arms forward and up. Ground through the feet. So a little added cue you might really find helpful is to add the challenge of getting your hamstrings on. So nice and strong, you might really anchor through your heels. As you press that pubic bone forward and lift up, can you feel your hamstrings peeling your chest up and kind of lifting, and then flexion, exhale, bend your knees and fold. This time, maybe your fingertips are on the floor, you're bringing them up to your thigh bones, but can you find engaged breathing, tone through the low back as you slide the shoulders down onto the ears and find a little baby cobra feel in your upper back. Exhale, fold, step back, downward facing dog. Exhale, come forward to tabletop or straight arm plank and lower all the way down to your belly. Pause to find length. As you find length, can you engage your abdominals to support your lower back and your floating back ribs? As you lift up into your baby cobra, pause. Shoulder blades firm and strong on your back. Maybe you press so much into the front of your hips that your hamstrings lift your legs. Exhale, lower down. Take one round of engaged breathing. From the strength of engaged breathing, inhale, chest lifts, maybe the legs lift. Exhale, lower down. Either rest or do one more. Inhale, legs and chest lift. Pause. Exhale, draw the navel up into your spine, long back. Lower down. Take a couple of breaths down on your belly. If you want to, let everything rest that can rest for 2 breaths. Plant your hands. Your challenge, maybe you press up to straight arm plank or tabletop. We come all the way back, downward facing dog. You can always stay in tabletop or go back to child's pose, right? Checking in. This is what your practice is about. We come back over and over and over to check in with how we're feeling. What do we need? Where should we go next? Then draw your butt way back, get nice and long and strong through your spine. And see if you can find that little baby cobra feel again. So as you lift the chest a little bit to look at your hands, still strong, engaged breathing, navel to spine, ribs drawing down and in, supporting that low back. And then we'll walk your feet up to your hands. Exhale, when you're ready, we'll come all the way on up. And we'll bring the arms down by your side. Let everything rest that can rest. Come back to your experience. Give yourself 3 rounds of breath. And we'll add some challenge. So grounding through the right side. Let's pick up the left knee. Just balance for a moment. You can always put your toes down. And the left leg's going to swing all the way back, and we're going to build a high lunge. So if you're at home and you need to grab something and balance, grab it. If you're here and you need to go to the wall, go to the wall. Okay. So again, symmetry. So your back heel's lifted, and we want the ears to come back in line with the shoulders. Shoulders to stack over the hips. And then knitting those ribs down and in. So make sure that you're not pushing the rib cage forward and compressing the back. Okay, so nice and strong there. And then we're going to bend and straighten 3 times. Last time we come up, that back left leg pushes back. And then we bring the hands behind your head. Create the little baby cobra. So pubic bone, just like it was pushing into the floor, it pushes forward. Lift up through the spine, peel the chest up off of the floor a little bit, look up. 3 breaths. Little more challenging, lift the arms. Knit the ribs with your exhale, feel that engaged abdominal breathing. Step your feet together. 3 breaths, let everything rest. When you're ready, balancing, picking up your right leg. Stepping your right leg back to build your high lunge. Line things up. Engaged abdominal breathing. Ribs draw down and in, support the low back. 3 times we go up and down. Third time we take the right leg and just press it back. Try to keep the hips facing forward. Hands come behind your head. Pubic bone goes forward, hips tip back a little bit. Lengthen up, find that baby cobra feel. 3 breaths. More challenging, arms can lift. Exhale, can you still feel the engagement of the ribs drawing down and in, navel to spine? And when you're ready, step the feet together. Hang out, give yourself 3 breaths. What's your experience? What are you feeling? What do you notice? When you're ready, exhale, sweep your arms out to come up. Sweep, bend your knees. Find a little of that extension, reach up. Exhale, flexion, fold. Inhale, little baby cobra feel through the upper back. Exhale, fold, step back, downward facing dog. Straight arm plank or tabletop. Bring your shoulders a little bit forward. We all lower down onto our bellies. Little more challenging this time. Arms come straight out by your sides. Knuckles down, palms up. Feel, connect, engaged breathing. Inhale, lift the chest. Maybe lift the legs. Maybe lift the arms. Exhale, lower down. Feel the shoulder blades strong, set on your back. The width across the chest. The engagement of the breath to keep the ribs knit, the spine long. Inhale, lift it all up. Exhale, lower down. 4 more or just rest, your choice. Maybe you do 2 and rest. At any point, you can pause and hold and check in with that engaged breathing. How strong can we be through those abdominals to really keep length in the low back? How long can you feel through your lower lumbar spine? Can hold all the limbs up for a few breaths, or you can come all the way down 3 breaths. And then, whoa, we just come all the way down. Hands underneath your forehead. And let everything that can rest, rest. This is a really nice place to just come back and find that relaxed belly breathing. Three more breaths. And then full exhale. Notice your exhale. Empty the lungs, and then we'll roll over onto your backs. All right, so let's bring your arms down by your side and grab the side of your mat. So you can just hold on to your mat. Your heels are in line with your sit bones. Okay, so we want a little more of a container. We don't want the legs super wide. So having that idea of hips and heels in a line can be nice. Now, if it doesn't work for you, of course, go out a little wider, okay? And give yourself a couple of breaths to just establish your feet, the back of your hips, your shoulders, your head, neutral spine. So continuing off from Friday when we were working on bridge, remember, you need to really find that engaged breathing here. The higher you're going to lift your pelvis, right? The more we need to really keep that engaged breath to support length in the low back. We don't want to just thrust the rib cage up. Okay, that's not in the best interest of your spine. So grab your mat and pull down. Pull your arms down out of your ears. Push into your heels and start to roll your spine up into a low bridge. Low means your pelvis is just up off the floor a couple inches. Engage breathing. When you feel your exhale contract the abdominals, then lift your pubic bone up a little higher. Exhale, engage, contract. Pubic bone goes up a little higher. Exhale, maybe a little higher. Keep pulling on the mat down. And then with strength, exhale, roll all the way back down. Take a one inhale, one exhale. With your exhale, ground and lift your pelvis just a little bit. Now, you should be feeling this in the glutes and the hamstrings. So as your pubic bone goes up, you're pushing your hamstrings up into the ceiling as well. Okay, so pubic bone goes up, hamstrings push up. And we're looking for length. So pubic bone long towards your knees. Engaged breathing, long low back. Find just the right bridge and take 3 to 5 breaths. Chest nice and open. Ribs knitting down, navel drawing in. And then when you're ready, roll all the way down. Outstretch your legs. Take a breath, one full inhale, one full exhale. And then just take your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bring your left leg up towards the ceiling. Hold on to the back of the legs and do 3 hamstring stretches. Trying to keep neutral spine. So trying to keep that little lumbar curve. Great. And then bring the legs all the way down. Walk your legs out a little wider on your mat. And as long as it feels okay, draw your knees in and let them come and me in. If you have hip replacements, be careful with this pose. And then hands on your belly, and we just rest for a few breaths. So you can just let your knees draw in, little internal rotation. And then bringing your knees back. So we come back to constructive rest pose. And then we're just going to gradually, slowly roll up and down our spine, just giving the spine a little bit of a massage. So almost just like a little cat-cow feel. You're just rolling up and down nice and slow and strong here. 2 more times. And then coming back to constructive rest pose. Letting your arms come a little bit wider. And just returning almost to how we started. Feeling the ground, the earth. All the way back to that relaxed belly breathing. Intentionally finding some deep internal stillness and relaxing, some space to let go. If it's comfortable, you can put your hands on your lower abdominals, belly. You might put one on your chest. Giving ourselves a few moments to check back in. Relaxing into your breath. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale. Might use the imagery of a balloon. As you inhale, we're blowing up that abdominal balloon. Exhale, we're letting it go. Authentic breathing. We always take the last few minutes of class for self-care. So checking in here, maybe you want to stay right here, following the belly breath. A belly breath can be so nice for down regulation, for a little more ease and calm. Maybe there's some favorite stretches you'd really love to do. So taking the last minute or so here just to check in, breathe, move. It's a nice time to practice that relationship of breath and movement. Stillness is considered movement. Coming back to your experience, noticing. You come back to your experience with a little more kindness and curiosity. Noticing with kindness, curiosity, what you're feeling through your breath. And then gonna slowly bend your knees and hike your knees all the way up into your chest. As long as it feels okay on your back, you can rock a little bit side to side. And then we'll rock all the way around and come on up to sitting. When you get on up, let's interlace your hands right out in front of you. Okay, so here's we go. Try not to push your chest forward, right? Engage breathing, stretch up and get a nice big stretch through the back and through the arms, through the shoulders. Try not to push your chest forward, anchor and lift. And exhale, release. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous week.